Yo,
Hi.
welcome back to the channel. We back with another video, and before we get started, I just want to say I appreciate y'all for showing mad love on my first video, and I gotta thank y'all again for 300 subscribers at the time of this recording. I was genuinely in disbelief at how much motion that one video generated. So thank y'all for that, and I hope you continue to support the channel, and I hope you also enjoy this one. And let's get started. So we start off at a waste collection facility, and this guy, he has a strange noise coming from the room nearby, so he goes over to check it out, and he sees someone who should not be here. So he enters the room and ups that Glock with efficiency, but he realizes that he's the one they call Trash Raider, and he immediately sounds their alarm for backup, and they arrive here quick, but he just throws bags of trash at them, and their reaction here is totally valid. I feel like most people would hate to get touched by a liquid from a trash bag, and getting this on my feet would overly piss me off. That is disgusting. But he sneaks out through the vent and into another room, but the door is slowly closing. And they come in and immediately start mag dumping, but he activates his Sharingan and he starts moving, dodging all the shots fired while doing parkour. But he runs in a straight line and they still cannot hit him. But he jumps and gets grazed by one of the bullets, but he manages to make it over the wall, giving them boys a cold trail. And we cut to this guy enjoying the beautiful sunny day in a rich neighborhood, and he overhears these ladies talking about the Reto incident, and the remark they make here is that the people from the other side should just stay on their side of the wall so they don't filthy up their clean white city. But this lady nudges at the other the same way you do when the homie spilling the tea and the tea walks in. But he does a slight bow and takes his leave. And this is when we see the state of this world. On one side, you have clean white luxurious buildings, a central water fountain, glistening streets, truly a lavish side. And the other side is the slums, metal sheet shacks, dirt roads, and a dark atmosphere. But rich or poor, a sunny day is a sunny day because the sky doesn't discriminate. It's colorful on this side too. But even on this side, they're talking about the Reto incident and how he needs to stop because the feds are gonna be all over the trap. But this is when he is revealed, and his name is Rudo. And Rudo here already has a love interest with the girl next to him, Chiwa. But where there's love, there's bound to be hate.
Oh man, that is nasty. What, did you wake up in a pile of dead cats or something?
And these three pull up with some bullshit, verbal abuse, destruction of personal property, and disability shaming. I've seen enough. Send them to the pit too. And what this kid says here is that this place was initially built to detain criminals, but now it's where the descendants of those criminals live, and they have to work extra hard, keep their noses clean so that maybe they can be recognized as something other than trash by the clean whites. But all of that became pointless when Rudo's biological father went and murdered some people, causing everyone on this side to be treated the same. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. You're nothing but trash. But Rudo is not gonna let all of that slide, so he hits them with that. Yeah, they felt his conqueror's hockey, so they fall back, call him a psycho, and they leave. But Chiwa is here to comfort him, and Chiwa here is one of two people in his life that actually care about him, and having only two people in your life that care for you is sad. Y'all just be hitting on anybody, huh? But she sees the puppy Rudo was fixing, and just when he was about to give it to her, her mom arrives, and since parents in these animes be hopping on the let's hate on that one kid train, Chiwa is not supposed to be with Rudo right now, so she takes her leave and Rudo heads home too. And when he gets home, we see Dude from earlier, and he starts teasing Rudo about what he said to Chiwa earlier on. And this guy's name is Reto, and he is Rudo's caretaker. But all of that aside, because we gotta talk about more important things right now, like that little trash raid he went on last night. And he basically tells Rudo that he doesn't have to be raiding these trash facilities for loot that he sells to try and repay him for his kindness. And he knows that they aren't related by blood, but he shouldn't think that they aren't family because they are, and he's in charge of taking care of him until he's grown. But Rudo acknowledges that they are family and he's only doing all this because of that. He just wants to put food on the table every now and then. But as they're talking, he notices the grazed arm, and this idiot wanted to play it off by saying it's not a big deal. Buddy, you got shot, it is a big deal. So he decides to clean up the wound for him and change the bandages on his hands while he's at it. And this is where we see why he wears those gloves. And I don't know what he has, but what I do know is that those hands give him an excruciating pain sometimes. But when Reto gave him those gloves, the pain subsided, feeling it less and making everyday life basically bearable. And can you imagine having to live with something like that every day? Can't even clench your fist because of that pain. And after that, he teases him again and tells him to give the toy to Chiwa, otherwise some guy will sweep her off her feet. And this is so refreshing to see. Even with all that hate around him, he still has people like this around.
Do it, or I'm not feeding you. I'm not turning on anyone, okay? You gotta do something.
Who the fuck is he? Out here standing menacingly outside their house, bro. Go away! And the next day, he takes a stroll, but he stops here looking down at where they throw criminals into the pit. And apparently, his dad also got thrown into that pit after the crimes he committed. He got swallowed up by that darkness.
Morning.
Chiwa, hey!
And this is when Chiwa pulls up, and that boy got nervous as hell. But they begin to chop it up, and what she says here is that Rudo should avoid getting into trouble because she doesn't want to see him getting thrown into the pit. But Rudo replies to her saying, yeah, Reto told me the same thing.
Of course he did. We just want to look out for you because we love you so much.
And Rudo caught onto that "we" quick, and they both get flustered by this. But it gave him more courage to finally give her the puppy.
He's perfect. I'll love him always.
And I usually have to wait like 12 episodes, no season 2, just to see something like this. But my boy Rudo did that in the first episode. I feel like a proud father. But he got overstimulated by this, and he takes off to tell Reto the good news. But when he turns that corner, he runs into them boys in clean white. Wonder what they doing here. But he gets home, ready to spill the tea, and... Bro, why now? And just when his son was about to tell him about his first love too. Why y'all gotta prioritize hate? And he just turns around, grabs the knife, and confirms the kill. And when Rudo came in, he just gets knocked out. And when he wakes up, his nose is leaking. And dude right here just picks up the book, looks over at Rudo by the door, and he leaves. But Reto was still catching breath. So Rudo goes over to check on him, but bro doesn't have much time left. So he tells Rudo to run away, and his final words,
Change this shit heap of a world! Make it something worth living in! Wait, what?
and he takes his last breath. R.I.P. a real one, you will be missed. But given no time to grieve his dad, he gets tasered and pinned down by this grown-ass man. And when he tried telling them he didn't do it, they just deny his plea because like I said, good or bad, it doesn't matter. You're guilty, and they knock him out. And this grown-ass man didn't even think twice about punching the lights out this kid. Look at the wind-up and anger he put into that punch. His wife is probably not giving him any, and now he's taking it out on an innocent kid. Tragic. And when he wakes up after being knocked out for the second time, he is tied up like the son of God. And for the killing of another, he is sentenced to death by pit. And as he looks over the crowd, he spots Chiwa, the last source of light in his life, because one just got put out. And he tries telling her that he didn't do anything and that the real killer is out there somewhere, but she just says,
I thought you were good. But you aren't. You're just the son of a killer.
and she turns her back on him, dropping the puppy too. It's sad, but all that darkness that's been building up within him begins to envelop him, and he has lost it at this point because look at his crazy eyes. But that's when the judge begins to raise his hand to signal the removal of trash from their land. And in between his fingers, he spots him, the one who killed Reto. And all I gotta say is, that thing is not human, bro. Because at first, I thought it was just a mask until I saw him remove an actual mask. What the fuck was Reto even on, bro? His arms is not even human. But before he could do anything, he gets dropped. And as he's falling, he makes a vow to come back and kill everyone who has ostracized him. Top priority being Reto's murderer.
And I'll kill you all! Do you hear me? You're all dead!
And when he wakes up after being knocked out for the third time, he finds himself in an unfamiliar place. But more importantly, he somehow survived that drop. Now, his survival might be tied to what we saw when he was free falling, but I'm sure we'll find that out later, because right now we have more important things to be concerned about. Something is materializing behind him, and when he turns around to look, he sees a monster made up of trash, and he's like, yeah, I've seen enough, and got to stepping. But the trash monster does a battle cry, and we see 3 more trash monsters spawn in. Nah, is it their leader or something? And I wasn't too concerned here, because earlier on I saw him dodge bullets with ease, so he'll be alright. But that's until he gets hussed down and gets surrounded, with this one trying to take a chomp on him, but he weaves all of them and he trips and falls near a skull. And I would be sick if I saw this. But the platform he was on begins to crumble and he falls below. And where he's at right now is a place filled with nothing but trash as far as the eyes can see, and he starts wondering if there's any safe places here. But again, we have more important things to be concerned about, because he is coughing up blood and collapses. And as he's laid out on the ground, thinking to himself if this is how he goes out, that dog in him reminds him of what he's here for, and he activates his Sharingan, giving him a better view of weapon options. And he reaches for the nearest one, being the pole, and he stands up with the trash monster surrounding him. And when this one comes in to attack him, he smacks it, making it look at that beautiful sky. He jumps on the sign and jumps again to hit this one, but he gets smacked right back to the ground. But he doesn't back up. He runs in, weaving the strike, jumps on its arm to leap up, and I don't know what was the play here, but he just throws his weapon into its body and he gets punished for it. He gets smacked into this boulder and not giving him time to catch his breath. It comes in pushing the rock over, but he makes it out. He picks up a railway sign and throws it like a Beyblade, chopping this one's arm off. And he is cooking a little bit here, but look out, you're standing on one that's about to get up. And that toxic gas is getting to him, but it's only giving him more reasons to keep fighting. He's gotta survive this, and he powers up and they come at him. But through the smoke, we see beams of red light, picks up the steel sheet and uses it to cut this one in half. And that's when the big one from earlier comes in, and he really doesn't want to smoke with this one, because he looks at it while it stands up like a big bear, and he's like, fuck no, I'm not dealing with that, and got to stepping, because this next attack cannot be dodged, parried, or countered. So when it comes down, it sends a massive shockwave in all directions, setting Rudo flying over the edge. But when he comes to it, he is face to face with a rando wearing a purse-like mask, carrying an umbrella. But he picks up Rudo, sidekicks him to the ground, and picks him up again, palms his face, and at first, I thought he was gonna purge this little dude, but he just puts an oxygen mask on him. And that's when Rudo starts asking questions, but dude right here just hits him with that.
Oh, shh.
He tries again but still gets hit with that.
Oh, shh.
But Rudo's persistent. He won't stand for all this, and he presses him for more questions until he actually makes the guy break, and he starts yelling at him. And the reason he was trying to be quiet is because the trash beasts react to sound, and little dude made him crash out yelling, which revealed their location to the trash beasts, and they got found. And while he's yelling at Rudo, one of the trash beasts is slowly approaching him from the back, and he starts imbuing his umbrella with yellow aura, giving it a makeover, and he poses for the gram before he goes to work. And when the trash beast comes in to attack, he shreds it to pieces using the umbrella. But it's not over yet, because looking over the horizon, you see more trash beasts and the big one standing at the back. But we ain't gotta worry, because bro is here to clean up. He squats down and dashes into this one's mouth, booming it first, and he takes the second one out, then the third and the fourth, and he uses it to leap up, and using the umbrella, he starts to slow descend. But that's when the big boss uses what seems to be a tail beast bomb and shoots it at him, but he shreds it and the scattered bits of it explode right behind him. He lands and takes a squat again and jumps up, and this man's got an insane vertical. Do you see how tall that beast is? I've seen enough. Put him in the league. But as he's up there, he's gonna position himself and adds more energy to the umbrella, increasing its size, and he hits that
Umbreaker, Octashredder.
and he drills through its cranium like a surgeon and evaporates it, leaving an umbrella mark on the ground. And after that, he walks up to Rudo, takes off the mask to introduce himself, and damn, he mogging like crazy. I know you see that fresh fade, the neck and hand tattoo, over 6 feet tall, and the feet clean as hell too. I just know the husband all over him. Ref, do something. And he tells us his name, which is Engine, and he's just a humble cleaner. But introductions aside, because this man Rudo passes out again. Yeah, my boy going through it. This is his 4th time in a span of 2 episodes, by the way. But he wakes up and he is tied up, and Engine starts dragging him along. But of course, Rudo starts yelling, saying he gotta get back up there. But Engine just says, yeah, that's not possible. But his persistency knows no bounds, and he continues to nag Engine with questions, and Engine being fed up with him is like, you really wanna know? I'd bet, and drags him to the station and leaves him there. And that's when these guys come out the trucks, acting curious beyond belief. And this guy asks him if he's a spherite, and him not knowing the term, he just says he fell from the place they call the sphere. And they took off their masks, happy as hell, but they start asking him a bunch of random questions. And I thought they were gonna treat him like a superior being since he's from the land above, because he's like, let me take off those chains for you. And what happens next was so unexpected, because they just lock him up in even more secured chains. I know he is sick as hell. This is his 3rd time being chained up in a span of 2 episodes, by the way. But they start to express how they really feel about the people from the sphere. And the short answer is, they hate each and every one of them spherites. Because of the trash they keep dropping here, it has piled up so much, has polluted the air, has created monsters, and also it has destroyed parts of their land. And they usually find dead spherites, and the people down here pay a pretty penny for their body parts. So you can imagine how much they'll pay for a live one, but better yet, what they will do to a live one. And after that little speech, he's gonna go ahead and feed him straight garbage, thinking this would torture him. But Rudo's got that weird dog in him, because as this guy's force feeding him the trash with fingers deep in his throat, Rudo takes a chomp off his skin, straight off the bone, and continues to eat that bullshit, calling it delicious. Yeah, alright. But enough with all of that, because he starts trying to break free from the chains. He powers up, which allows him to break free, and he hops out the truck, and the objects around him begin to levitate. But that's when we see Engine scoping out the scenery from afar, so I guess this was part of his plan? But Rudo grabs the chain and unconsciously imbues it with energy, giving it a makeover, and he activates his Sharingan. Yeah, he's about to cook these guys. But the boss man starts tweaking out and tells them to go murk that kid, and when they go in, he whips that chain in the middle of them, and this guy makes the smart idea of going for his chain, because apparently power users cannot do anything without their object, and he disarms him. But little did he know, Rudo is not like the rest of them, because he can use multiple objects. And he comes out the smoke with a tire, imbues it with energy, giving it a makeover, and he beats him with it, and he upspins the other guys too. And now it's time for the big boss, and he starts walking him down, and as a last resort, he cusses out Rudo, but all that yapping ain't gonna save you. You're done. But that's when Engine pulls up and calms this puppy down. and he apologizes for leaving there like a jerk, but he had to know if he was the real deal, and he makes him an offer: join the cleaners, and in return, he will provide him with all the information he needs. But Rudo is like, nah, I don't really feel like it. But they head to a doctor and he gets his injuries checked out. Engine was on call with somebody discussing the finding of Rudo, and that's when Granny here tells him to thank Engine because without him, he'd be dead right now. He has inhaled too much of that toxic gas. He's lucky to get off with the minor injuries he got. And after being tended to, they get kicked out with Granny here yelling her lungs out.
Give me money and get the hell out! And one last thing, I'm a woman!
And Rudo thanks Engine for taking care of the hospital bill, but he continues to egg him for that info. And I get it, but damn, you gotta chill, little bro. Go eat up a burger or something.
Oh, damn. Someone had the munchies.
And while they're having lunch, Engine starts explaining how things work on the ground. Trash is not the only thing that builds up here on the ground. Emotions or anima also builds up, and sometimes it converts into energy. That energy is why trash beasts exist, and they attack humans on sight, but they cannot be destroyed by regular means. Since their cores are made up of anima, specialty items are required to destroy those cores. So over time, anima will inhabit any object, and those objects are called vital instruments, and you need those instruments to destroy trash beasts, because anima beats anima. Pretty simple math. But what makes a vital instrument is the person who can bring out their full power, like Rudo here, and those who can are called givers. So he makes him a proposal to join this group called the Cleaners, and their mission is to exterminate trash beasts.
We need all the givers we can get.
But since they're making a deal, both ends gotta be held. So can Engine give Rudo the information he needs?
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have the vaguest whiff of an idea of how to get you back up there.
But his boss might know a thing or two, so we're gonna have to meet up with him. So for now, he's gonna leave him to think about the proposal as he goes to fetch one more person before we head out to the boss man. So he gives him some cash he got from selling his Fearite drip and leaves him there. But that's when this cat grabs the bag and dips with Rudo chasing him down. But he sees a random stick and grabs it to pin down Mr. Cat and secure his cash. But here's the thing, that stick belongs to someone, and he emerges from the shadows, mad as hell. And he tells Rudo to give back what he stole, and Rudo must have misunderstood him because he's like, what do you mean? This is my cash. But he's like, fuck your cash, I'm talking about the stick, give it back. But Rudo makes the mistake of calling it just a stick, and bro wasn't about to take that disrespect. So he comes in and grabs the stick, pushes Rudo away, and I don't know what the hell this is, but he just sniffs the stick and gropes the stick. Yeah, he might be weird for real. But Rudo notices the same emblem Engine had on his feet, and he knew he was cooked. Because dude over here starts to imbue his stick with anima, giving it a makeover, and he swings it full force. There's no way he wasn't trying to put this little dude 6 feet under. If that connected directly, it would have split his cranium in half. But apparently, this is the guy Engine was talking to on Crow earlier. And his name is Zanka of the Akita Cleaners, whatever that is. But I'm just gonna call him Zanzan. And Zanzan here is gonna be Rudo's teacher. And he's also pissed that he's gonna have to teach Rudo some basic manners like not stealing from people. But he says something here that got Rudo ready to crash out.
You keep talking and all I hear is that your daddy didn't raise you right.
And y'all know Rudo ain't about to let this slide. Nah. We won't be letting this slide. No rectal disrespect will be tolerated here. So Rudo better put this dude in his place right now. My fault. But as he activates his Sharingan, he recalls something Recto told him when he was young. That being, instead of fighting people over a misunderstanding, try apologizing to them first and calm the situation down. So he tries that and gives his heartfelt apology to Zanzan, and it worked because he also apologizes for coming out strong towards Rudo and brings him up and they begin to chop it up. But Rudo wanted to take that apology a step further by adding in a smile. But when I saw him hype and pump himself up just to smile, I knew this was gonna go bad. What is this monstrosity of a smile? Nah, even Zanzan is wondering what that is. But he's gonna try again, this time with mouth and eyes closed. Yeah, nah, I'd whip his ass after that, cause what the hell is this? That shit would give me nightmares. But as Zanzan is yelling at him, he makes the mistake of calling his goals pointless because they're not here to play games. They out here risking their lives for this, and he's replying to what Rudo said here.
I wouldn't say I joined. It's kind of more like I'm lending a hand until I get what I want from you guys.
But that got Rudo pissed again, and he pulls out something from the dumpster nearby. And Zanzan is surprised by this. He didn't know it was possible for someone to turn any object they touch into a vital instrument. But what does that matter if he can't beat an average guy like him? When did he throw that? He tried to take his head off the second time by skysnapping him. Damn, he must really want lil bro dead. But enough with all of that, because he's about to go to work. He goes in, grabs the staff, swings, but Rudo weaves, brings it back and connects, not giving him time to catch his breath. He rushes in with a swing, but Rudo narrowly weaves, blocks the pullback and the next strike, and he does tricks to change his stance for the next strike, but Rudo blocks, goes for his side, but Rudo blocks again, and he breaks his guard on the next strike, causing him to spin around, but he recovers from that and blocks the next strike. And Rudo is getting tired from all this defense, so he goes in for a swing, but Zanzan does a slight head turn, takes a breath, and puts that boy down. But when Rudo swung, something got on Zanzan's face.
What's this?
As it turns out, what he pulled from that dumpster earlier was a plunger full of diarrhea. And I'm not gonna lie, if that was me, I would have went to the nearest lake to get cleansed of this misfortune. The Loch Ness Monster would have had to sanction me for a little while, because how unlucky you gotta be to fight someone with a plunger full of poo. But what makes this scene even worse is that Rudo has no idea what he has in possession, because he's swinging that shit with no care for hygiene. And Zanzan is not even trying to fight anymore. He's trying to create some distance between them, but Rudo is chasing him down with that doo-doo stick and he's not letting up. But my question is, why is that plunger full of shit? Nah, better yet, how does it have shit in the first place? You telling me someone shed so much they clogged their toilet and they had to use that plunger to unclog it by literally pulling out the feces and had to walk from their apartment floor all the way to the dumpster outside with a plunger full of bodily excrements and dropped it there. And he had the misfortune of getting in a fight with someone who pulled it out and is now using it as a weapon. And this must have been a recent activity too, because it is still wet. You can hear it gurgling when he swings. But maybe the fact that the giver can draw out the full potential of an object is what resulted in that plunger having diarrhea in the first place. And if that's the case, you telling me he turned a plunger into a vital instrument and its main abilities is to accumulate poo? Oh hell nah, that's just nasty. And when they get out the alleyway, he's still chasing him down the street. But Larry again is causing misfortune for everyone in the vicinity because he makes Zanzan miss a step when with Rudo coming in like this. And look at the extension of that plunger. He is ready to plunder his dignity and he hits him with a doo-doo airstrike. And when Engine returns, he sees Rudo squatting down near a passed out Zanzan, and when he heard the story, bro is cracking up, with Zanka feeling humiliated and Rudo embarrassed for thinking he was looking tough swinging turds around.
Please just kill me now.
And I know you see them Choso 11s in the back.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you back there, Rio. What's up?
And this is where we introduce to our final member of the main cast, Rio. And she's here because she's curious about the new guy. And just like any other female, she gets intrigued by Rudo's hair, mainly the color, and she starts fondling it around while we headed to Cleaner HQ. And we get to Cleaner HQ and they split it up for now, with Engine and Rudo going up the front desk. And I've only seen this once on a post online and I thought it was edited. But she's indeed reading a nude magazine. Nah, gooning in broad daylight at the reception too is insanity, but it's nothing compared to what she did. But they're here because everyone joining the cleaners has to get checked out by this fine ass lady named Samu. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And if you hear me say Sammy or Sam in her presence, just know I'm referring to her. And how does she check them out, you may ask? Using her vital instrument, being her glasses. They amplify her kinetic visual acuity. Wow, that's a mouthful. Which basically means she can perceive moving targets clear and accurate. But when she truly locks in, she can see a person's potential. And when she used it on Rudo, well... Now, it's not revealed what she saw, but we're gonna find out later, probably. But she tells them that, physically speaking, he is in excellent shape, and the relationship between him and his vital instrument is great. But utilizing it though, not so much. He's gonna need help in that area. And that's when Anjin asks if that's all, but she just says,
Not quite. How'd you get boo-boo on the back of your neck?
And this woman's voice is so sensual. If she talked me into taking over this world for her, I fear I would fold. I would do you all the same way Nolan did the Flaxons. At her command, she would be my Grand Regent, and she would have to activate me just like a sleeper agent. You would all be at her mercy if she chose so. Nah, I'm just kidding. I ain't doing all that for some play. But they head out, and Engine is a bit curious on what she saw. But for now, we gotta meet up with the boss man. But before we meet him, let's do a quick meet and greet. That's about 100 cleaners in total, but it's rare to have them in one place at the same time because they have to be spread out to cover more ground on the ground, so this should be quick.
This'll only take...
Never mind. But we get to the boss's room and Engine's trying to make sure Rudo doesn't fumble his first impression. So he tells him to make a deal with the boss man. Tell him you will work for him in exchange for information. And also, wise men don't ask about the boss's stylist. No one knows who they are and how they keep his style fresh. I'm just kidding. He basically says don't ask about his vital instrument, and he only told him about his because he wanted him to trust him. So pretty reasonable. But here's the thing, the boss is not available at the moment.
The hell?
So he's gonna have to wait a bit before he can get the answers he wants. So what is he going to do right now? I don't know. But Rio comes in and she's like, you can tag along with me on my next job so you can get accustomed to being a cleaner. But I would like to get to know you close and personal.
It's a chance for us to get to know each other, right?
Oh my god, bro, ref, do something. The ball is putting itself in. So Sammy gives them the rundown on the job they have to do, and she also explains some things that the handsome imbecile left out earlier about the ground. Here on the ground we have safe zones, which is where humans live, and it's safe there, hence the name. Polluted zones, inhabited by trash beasts with the air around being so toxic, a mask is necessary there, and these zones are dangerous. And finally, no man's land. The same as polluted zones but much more dangerous because of the dense toxic gas and bigger trash beasts, making it damn near impossible to survive these zones even for some cleaners. Makes you wonder what he was doing out there. But enough with all of that because it's time to get to work, and our squad consists of Rio, Rudo, Gris, and the other supporters. And supporters here don't have powers like givers do, so they compensate for that with pure physical strength. They hit up the gym every day, no days off, and Gris low bros Rudo here by flexing his grip strength.
Blew your mind, right? My man's got mad godly strength. He can bust a trash beast shell with one punch. Isn't that awesome? Coolest guy ever.
And the trash beasts appear, and these ones are smaller than the ones we saw earlier, and they start ramming at the barricade, but they cannot penetrate. That's until bigger versions of them appear, and they come in hot, ramming at the barricade, and they crack it open a little bit. And Rudo is over here tweaking out, and I would too. Our lives might be in danger, and she's over here planning a welcome party. Bro, what are you doing? I'ma need you to lock in, Rio. But she calms him down by saying, in order to survive the ground, you gotta learn the importance of keeping it cool. Cool. Getting a boss fight this early is insane. What is this? Dark Souls? But Rio's here to clean up, so no need to worry. She pulls out her scissors, imbues them with anima, and throws them in the air, and they get a makeover. But before she can get to the boss, she gotta clear out the grunt first. And I love how she uses her legs to utilize her scissors. She has the option to only use her hands, but she's like, why not include the legs too? And while Rudo is distracted by Rio, he almost gets sneaked by one of the trash beasts. But Gris is on the lookout for that. He grips its head, cracking its shell, and he throws it towards Rio to finish it off.
There we go.
And remember, trash beasts can only be destroyed by using vital instruments. So the supporter's main job here is to immobilize them so givers can finish them off with ease. Impeccable teamwork for real. But now that most of the smaller ones are dealt with, it's time for the big boss.
Let's have some fun.
And before we can get to that, the supporters head out to secure the areas nearby. But this one wakes up and it trips this guy with its horn and it tries to pounce on him. But Rudo comes in with the save. He activates his Sharingan, imbues the rod with anima, and it turns into this brain neuron looking structure. But Rudo almost turned this man into a she. Just look at how close that spike got to his crotch. That pain would have had any man in a 30-mile radius just like this. But that trash beast is pressing him, and he cannot hold on for long because his instrument is beginning to fade. It's literally turning to ash. But that's when Rio comes in, piercing through its shell, and it explodes. And if you're wondering why she's here instead of duking it out with the big guy, well, that's because she sliced its head in half, but it's still not going down. And right now, it seems like it's impervious to vital instruments. So what do? Well, she's gonna keep going at it until she manages to put it down. She stabs it and it starts wiggling her around, and it sends her flying to the back of its head. She slices those dreads off, and I know some dreadheads are looking away at this. This is their worst nightmare. And with doing that, she uncovers something shining back there, and Rio was really utilizing her quip wheel to the fullest here. Every move she made was followed by a sentence like, damn girl, chill. And it starts tweaking out and attaches the fake locks back on its head. And with those eyes turning yellow, it means it's entering its crash out stage, and it starts banging its naked chin up and down with Rio on its back like she made rodeo, and she laughing too. She really out there having a blast. And it hits the ground so hard it sends a massive shockwave and extends those locks towards Rudo, destroying the ground beneath him, and he slowly starts to fall. But Gris comes in with the save. He pulls him up and takes him to safety while offering Rudo some words of comfort. And he's saying this because Rudo has been down this whole mission because he feels as if he's not contributing to anything, literally beating himself up for his power clocking out on him early. But to be honest, he shouldn't be feeling like this at all. He was brought here as an observer, not a participating member. But he was still able to help out that dude earlier, which to me feels like he did more than enough, considering he still cannot consciously use his power, but he still jumped in to save bro, and just for that, he should not be feeling like a burden just because he got saved by Gris twice, which was bound to happen because Gris is a W man. That's just who he is. And we cut back to Rio showing out. She's mercilessly slicing and dicing up the big boss. It can't keep up. And she goes up. And am I the only one who finds this scene to be way cooler than it is?
Keep singing for me, big guy.
Just look at how she comes out the smoke. Adjusts herself on the scissors with wind blowing in her hair. Jumps up and drops down like an arrow, piercing through the shining spot we saw earlier, and she falling through this like a meteor while the trash beast is turning to ash at the back. I don't know, man, I just appreciate stuff like that for real. But the reason this trash beast didn't go down before is because it was powered up by a vital instrument. And after she destroyed that instrument, it finally went down. And with that, it makes Rudo's first job with the cleaners a success. And when they get back to Cleaner HQ, they throw Rudo a welcome to the ground party. But feeling down from yesterday's job, he's over there sulking alone. But Gris, being the W man that he is, he goes over to have a talk with Rudo. And he starts it off with a thanks for saving that kid yesterday. But because of the way Rudo was brought up, he feels as if he doesn't deserve that kind of praise. But Gris doubles down thanking him, adding the fact that not a lot of people care for the supporters in the cleaners. But he has shown them respect from the get-go, so for that he is grateful. And he also gives him some motivation, telling him to try and not let the past slow him down, and that he should focus on moving forward. Focus on what it is that you want to achieve. And he adds in a head pat, and with that, he's all better now. And with Engine and the rest of the gang coming in, it just goes to show that he's not alone anymore, and that he has found people that care for him. But we cut to the guy who got his fingers chomped off by Rudo, and he's going through it. He was getting tortured for information about Rudo by this rando here. And now that he's got everything he wanted, he puts a blade in his mouth and roughly pulls back, slicing his skin off. And just off this alone, I know he's gonna be a problem.
White hair that fades to black at the tips, bags under the eyes. He's from the sphere and he's a giver.
And back at Cleaner HQ, we have Sammy walking out to her desk, and somehow she knew a call was incoming. KVA ain't the only thing she got going on here. Is she clairvoyant too? Y'all let me know in the comments. And the call she just got was for another job. Apparently, someone was walking through a polluted zone and they got their goods stolen from them by a trash beast. Getting robbed by a trash beast is interesting. And I would have called this cap until she mentioned that the stolen goods is a living, breathing spherite, and she figured that the resident spherite might be interested. But Zanzan doesn't want to bring the trainee along with them on the job with his hating ass. But Sammy knows how to defuse this bomb, and she tells him that initially Engine was supposed to be leading the job, but circumstances prevented that. And for his replacement, Zanzan will suffice. That boy heard Engine recommended him, and now he's enthusiastic.
Alright, lock the hell in, guys.
He's truly a simple creature, but it's time to head out. And as they're headed to meet up with the victim, Folo brings up the fact that Gris has to pray to a talisman before any job as a way to make sure that everyone returns home alive. But in a playful way, you know, he's teasing him. And damn, why do you look like that? But better yet, where the hell did she come from? Can she just spawn in from the ground? Out here looking like a blanked-eye girl with your creepy ass. Get away! But she leads them to where she last sighted the trash beast, and as they're headed there, Zanka makes a good point that the odds of her cargo being alive are slim to none, and it makes sense considering the fact that trash beasts eat humans. So does she think it's holding her precious little spherite hostage? Nah, she thinks it's trying to get to her. I wouldn't even target you if I was a mindless beast. You're just too disturbing. And look how she looks from this angle with them fuck ass legs, bro. Are we sure she's human? But they arrive at the building and they enter immediately. And this entity starts pushing them towards the cargo. And that's when they realized that it was a setup, with the ground beneath them beginning to crumble and they fall below. And when they look up, it turns out she's made up of mud, and the one who conjured up that monstrosity emerges from the shadows. And this is where we get introduced to the group called Raiders, and they're here to grab that spherite. But with no time to waste, Gris makes the play. These three have to find an exit route, while him and Folo protect Rudo, and Zanzan will stay behind to deal with these two. And it's go time. She makes more mud people and they're looking chopped. What the hell am I even looking at here? But no worries, because Zanzan is here to clean up. He imbues his staff with anima, giving it a makeover, and he starts swatting at the mud people. But two of them come in running and it goes for a right. But he does a slight head turn and does a 180 swing at it. and the next one jumps in with a kick, but he blocks it and connects his attack. But thinking that was it, the lady's partner comes out the mud and rocks Zanzan in the face, sending him flying into the pillar. And now we know what they're all about. She makes the mud people and he hides in them to sneak their opponents. And I can even hate this is an elite team play, because look at how they do him. He continues to swat at the mud people and he comes out the ones he just put down to punch him. And even when he attacks the same one that guy just came from, he still gets rocked in the back because he already changed the avatars. And they continue to do this to him. And with Zanzan being angered by this, he tries to rush in but he slips on the mud. And nah, they doing Zanzan bad, he gotta get back. But here's the thing, Zanzan ain't no pushover, because after all that beating, he realized that bro over here has no vital instrument. And when the lady was conjuring up these mud things, he equipped himself with these snowshoes because they make it easier for him to walk on the mud. Nah, Zanzan's got good court vision. He even hit bro with the... And them realizing he knows their little trick got them tight as hell. And the mud things rush in, but he pulls out a move straight from Avatar, hitting that seismic sense like he tough and tracks down Buddy, and he locks the fuck in. Because he dashes in to rock this guy in the face, adjusts the staff while heading towards her so he doesn't ruin that pretty face, and he puts her down. And I'm not gonna lie, that's very considerate coming from him. I know a lot of men would have hit her with the side that's too lethal for that face. And after that, he's like, you pulled up to me with them Naruto clones and you thought shit would be sweet, huh? Impudence. You couldn't even take one hit.
It'll be just as easy.
Nah, my boy Zanzan's about to get hold crazy because no way you got hit with the he's behind me, isn't he? But that's the end of the video, and I appreciate you for making it this far for real. And I'ma drop the next part probably in like 2 to 3 weeks. I don't know. I didn't think this video would take this long to make. And the next one will probably be as long as this one, so I'ma take a little bit of time making that one too. But until then, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I shall catch you on the next. Peace out.